We're going live. Guys.
And that, Nick,
is
a guaranteed surefire way for any bike shop in any market to be extremely profitable in virtually any economic scenario for years to come. That's how it's done. The solutions are there. People just need to grab onto it. Buy my 10-point plan, and
he's got
you're guaranteed
10 points.
That's all it is. 10 points. Guaranteed success.
You see he's got wrenches.
I got wrenches.
And those wrenches make money.
Those are the money makers.
Do you want to make $1 million? Who in the chat wants to make $1 million?
Yeah. How do you make $1 million?
What if there was a transportation device that we could sell that was like just complicated, people couldn't figure it out?
I like this idea. I like where this is going. And maybe you could like ensure that it always broke down just by using it.
We're not talking about BMWs, dude.
I was
burned.
Weirdly just texting my wife, who is having a little bit of a problem with hers right now.
Too soon.
Well, it needs these these parts that I intended to replace and never did. So when it's cold, the car timing is off pretty bad and chugs pretty good until it warms up. So
oh yeah,
her car's been sitting all day because she's been at the office all day, and she's trying to come home and
just get it warm, honey.
It takes a little while, and so but I ordered the new parts today. So
okay,
they'll come in. They're more expensive than I wanted them to be, but they're like super easy to replace. So fine, who cares?
We'll get it there.
That's all right.
Sometimes it chugs.
Nick,
Doc,
friends, welcome to Bicycle Therapy. We're glad to be back. How are you, buddy?
I'm hanging in.
Yeah, hanging in.
Yeah.
What's fall doing to you?
I ran 16 miles last week.
At once?
No.
Oh.
Over the course of 3 days.
3 days. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ran a little bit. I'm doing some running.
Staving off the winter growth.
Yeah, I did
as possible.
I did a conference about mining. I ran a live stream for a mining conference.
Wow.
Engineering.
You should have told me about that. My daughter wants to study mining in college. And she could have gone. Dude. I would have told her to go. Go to this conference and see if this is what you want to be a part of.
It was exhilarating.
Yeah?
Oh my God, no! It was. I almost fell asleep.
The man said no. Yeah.
Wow. I think I would reenact it, but we'd probably lose all 4 of our viewers right now. 4,000.
The
4K.
Yeah, 4K.
We're going big tonight, guys. Yeah. We're going big.
Going big.
So it's been a good week. I've been getting into some running. I'm exercising. I bought one of these watches to track my heart rate, it's a Garmin, and
we are not sponsored by Garmin.
No, but it's kind of cool. It's not super accurate on some things, but like it's good enough to do what I need it to do. I'm trying to like get in shape the right way.
Tells you about your sleep.
Yeah, it tells me that I'm sleeping like crap every night.
Record like your bowel movements and the quality of stool.
I poop 3 times in the morning. That's it. The rest of the day, I'm ready to party.
Off you go. Get down to race weight, starting at the beginning.
If Facebook doesn't know that by now.
Do you have it synced up to your bicycle suspension?
No. God, no.
Well,
God, no, dude.
Your bike will perform much better if you sync them up, because it'll know if you've gotten good sleep or not, or if what your body weight currently is, all sorts of things. If you sync it up with your suspension, and then your suspension will automatically adjust itself.
To my body weight?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, like if you've been eating too many candy bars and you've put on 5 pounds, but you haven't adjusted your air pressure and your shock, it'll do it for you.
That sounds ridiculous.
Fucking future, man. Yeah, come on, get on board. It's just like, I guess we're going to start with false innovation. It's just like the tire pressure monitors for your tires on your mountain bike, which SRAM is doing.
Yeah.
It's been you've heard it here now. SRAM is trying to sell us tire pressure monitors for our bicycles.
My wife has that in her car, and
They're
it
always
breaks,
wrong. Yeah.
And then you get this warning light, TPS.
Oh, always
Your
going
TPS
off.
reports are off.
Yeah, you didn't fill out your TPS reports, and now,
Dude,
it's dinging at you.
do we need an app for every component of the bicycle?
I will remind you that need is a big word.
Need.
Need is a very big word. No, we do not need it. Does SRAM apparently feel it reasonable to pay engineers to design and create such a thing? I guess so. Are there people who will like it? Yes. Are there people who will buy it? Yes. Will many of those people have problems with it? Yes.
I mean, aren't they working
And then yeah.
like aggressively on 13 speed? Because like,
Well, they made it for the
It's
gravel
already
group,
made?
for the gravel group.
It's out there?
We talked about this last summer.
it's like a joke.
Last summer when Unbound happened. Sorry. I shouldn't throw a lot of stank on that one. I feel like I was really aggressively against Unbound. Last year when Unbound happened, SRAM dropped their new gravel group set, their gravel version of their SRAM Red, which the only group in the whole lineup that has 13 gears.
Okay, so I just feel like a British man
13 gears needs to be on
is going to be
gravel.
like, well, like if you ask, like what makes it better? You're like, well, it has one more.
It has
Then
one
last
more.
year.
Yeah.
It goes from 12, now it's got 13. It's got
13.
one more,
Which is better.
which is better.
Yeah.
One more than you had last year.
Yeah. And everybody else, they've all got fewer than you got.
It's got one more.
So, problem solved.
What's your problem?
Yeah. Get with
Climb
the
any mountain.
get with the program.
Got
Bro.
one more. Got 13. 13.
13.
13 gears on the back.
Are we on
Thank
board?
God.
No, we're not. But they're gonna make it. They didn't ask us. If they would have asked us, we could have saved them money. But then some guy who was designing this thing came up with this idea. Probably would have been out of work. And maybe we don't want that. I don't know.
Do you think their engineers are kept in cages and they're like, think of something next? And they're like,
yes.
uh,
I definitely think that is
tubes, tube monitor.
Yeah.
Give me to monitor the pressure in the tubes.
Very good.
Does
Yes,
it adjust? I didn't actually read that. I saw the article.
No, it
and
does not
laughed and-
adjust. There is a system that exists that you can self-adjust the pressure in your tire. It has been tried by a couple of professional road bike racing teams in like the Paris-Roubaix. So, which in those cases, so it's basically like it's got the pump housed inside the hub, and then there's a hose that goes up into the rim, and you can push a button up on your handlebar and either inflate or deflate your tire.
All right.
It's predictably heavy and somewhat odd, but
But you got that
if
adjustability.
if on the fly, Curtis Cole asked if the show has started yet. It definitely has started.
Can you not see us?
Or is he just asking if we're actually going to get with the program? Yay, you signed up for this, so this is what
Yeah.
you get.
We tell you how show goes.
You don't tell us. What are we talking about tonight? You've been running. What
have you been doing?
We got a November snowstorm, which kind of ended mountain biking for us, for the most part. Stuff will dry out, hopefully, in the next week, but things were pretty rough in the last 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks ago when we filmed that it started snowing,
Yeah.
and then it kept snowing
It was a little slippery on the way out.
for 3 days. Yeah. So that kind of sucks, but I did build a new gravel bike.
Oh.
In the last, during the snowstorm, I finally got around to building the new bike.
You
I
guys
guess-
don't go anywhere. I got it.
Nick's gonna go get it.
I got it.
There we go.
It's right here.
My new gravel bike. Multi-surface machine.
Here, let's put it right.
Go drive. Oh, you're gonna go.
I'm going right. I'm going to try not to
Right in
hurt
front.
it. I'm sorry if I...
This is
But-
what we're doing.
This is the show, guys. We are
This is the show.
live.
We're just gonna go through all the details of my bike.
Yeah, but this is it.
It's great. It's orange and purple and pink. And it makes me happy.
It's
I haven't ridden it yet, though.
It's creamsicle light. It's like a light creamsicle.
Yeah, but sparkly.
The sparkly.
It's sparkly.
It's a Cervelo.
It's a Cervelo. I've never owned a Cervelo. I've never owned a carbon gravel bike like this before. That's SRAM
Disc
red,
brakes.
12-speed. Yeah.
Lucky.
All sorts of fun stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's pretty cool.
She's great. I'll ride it at some point.
I'm probably gonna put the first.
Apparently,
scratch
there
on
was a mixed surface group ride with a bunch of my friends last week, and I didn't get invited.
Mixed surface.
Yeah.
Sounds like a politically correct way of saying gravel ride, but like you don't want to offend like the asphalt industry.
Well, it just means you don't want to offend the asphalt industry.
You don't.
It
Big
just means
asphalt.
you leave from your
dude.
house and go find some dirt from somewhere.
Or it's like mixed martial arts.
The mixed mark. Yeah, exactly. Kirsten and Jeff rode mountain bikes yesterday. I believe that. I heard that Jeff had tried to ride, had ridden Dakota, which is the first one to dry out for the most part. I have also heard that like Left-Hand Canyon's dry. It's south facing. A few of the boulder stuff. I don't think they got as much snow as we did. As you got further north, there was less snow.
Actually, it was lighter up in Thornton.
Was it?
Than it was down.
What'd you
It
get?
was pretty heavy.
What'd you end up with at your house?
What?
How much snow did you end up with at your house?
Oh, we got about a foot. We ended up getting a lot, but
Yeah.
it wasn't quite as bad.
Yeah. Anyhow,
That's the weather.
The weather. And that brings us to the state of bikes in Colorado in November. It can be amazing, or it can be absolutely awful. It's usually one or the other.
Yeah, like I've ridden all the way to New Year's
Yes.
consistently.
Yeah.
Some years.
We got this
Some
big
years.
this big dump, and it kind of ruins things. Which for me, the bummer part is it kind of throws work kind of in the tank for a little bit until people get out and get riding or start thinking about their bikes again. So I've been less busy work-wise in the last few weeks, which is okay because I took advantage to remodel my bike shop.
Yeah, we flipped around. I don't know if you could tell.
You probably can't even tell. I mean, you might notice that Nick and I are on different sides of the screen. That's because we're on different sides of the
You're actually watching
the room, the space. It's one room. It's a whole space.
another dimension.
Yeah.
We're in the multiverse, dude.
Yeah. You're watching us from the dimension where we flipped sides. I've been
Mixed
listening to an
surface.
audiobook about that.
The multiverse?
Well, yeah, and whether or not you can develop the ability to leap dimensions.
Dimensions.
It's weird.
Oh, dude, I was just watching a thing about leaping dimensions.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
you can do it.
at the end of the show, they just put the kibosh and said, nah.
Well, you might be able to do it, but you'd never know if you did do it, so you might as well live as if you can.
So do you think we could go into a dimension where a medium-sized bike shop is highly profitable?
Guaranteed. Which brings us to tonight's subject matter. Bike shops. The fuck are they all about?
Dude, let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk bike shops. Let's get into
Daddy, where do bike shops come from?
Where do the bike shops come from? First of all, that was really weird calling me daddy on the internet.
I thought about that as I said it. I was like, oh shit, I haven't called
For some reason,
him daddy publicly.
publicly, daddy, where do bike shops? And I just want to be like,
Daddy.
okay, well, son,
Son, we're going with that relationship.
I'm trying to stay in character here.
Yes.
When a disgruntled bike shop employee has worked at a bike shop for anywhere from, it takes about 5 years to get fully disgruntled.
5 to 8, yeah.
They go, I can do this better. I'm going to start at a bike shop, and I'm going to do it the right way.
Yep.
And it's usually, like, a lot of times it's mechanics. Mechanics, like, I'm tired of this. I'm going to run it, and I'm going to make my own rules. And I'm going to, not always, sometimes, salesperson gets on it. And they say, I'm gonna start a bike shop, and I'm going to do it the right way. I'm not going to sell cheap bikes. I'm only going to sell good bikes
Yep. I'm not going to sell a bunch of crap. I'm just going to sell what I know I like, what I know I believe in, what I know what people will enjoy, and what's going to be good for them. Because I know what people need.
Yeah.
I have the experience. I have the knowledge.
And people like me.
Damn straight, people will.
So then the whole thing is it's a life cycle. So, this person has worked at a shop.
Yeah.
They've mechanic. I've even thought about like maybe I should start a bike shop, dude. Maybe I should start a shop.
Danny Boy's on board, just so you know.
Who's Danny Boy?
Danny Boy, he's here. He picked his bike up today. He's one of the few people to see the new location here. Anyway,
the new location. But back to the
back
show.
Back to where bike shops come from. Yeah.
So then this person starts a bike shop. They get some money, maybe a loan. They're like, I'm gonna get a store. Usually. I'm gonna do it the right way. Mm-hmm. And they get make a cool logo, or
that they think is cool.
And then
they have one friend who was good at art one time, and they're like, "Can you design a logo?
Can you make my logo, dude?"
And they're like, "Yeah, totally."
Now you just hit generate.
Right.
I want a bike shop logo. And then, they go strong for 3 years. 3 years.
3 years, dedicated. No weekends. Yeah. Working every day, dedicated to the cause, dedicated to the plan.
Be like, we're gonna do it, dude. We're gonna crush it. But then about year 3 or 4, they're like, now I want to make some money, man. This has been a struggle, dude.
It's not working. It's been a little fun at times. It's been a shit ton of work, but I need the money. The money needs to work. How do we make that? How do we make that work?
How do we make that work?
What do they do?
We need to sell more shit.
Oh, that's right. The solution to making more money is selling more shit.
And then suddenly that person who's like, I'm never selling a $400 bike in my bike store is like...
They're talking to
maybe
Giant, and...
the reps are hitting them hard.
Like, well, what do you have in hybrids? Do you have hybrids with suspension forks and hybrids without suspension forks?
I think there's a market for this type of bike.
Yeah.
And then it happens, folks.
Yep. They start selling everything that they didn't want to sell. They start doing everything that they claimed they didn't want to do. And they end up being the exact same shop that they said they hated.
The cat's in the cradle with a silver spoon.
So that's one place where bike shops come from. It's common all the time. You end up with an industry veteran who thinks he has the solution. I have been there.
Yeah. How'd it go?
I was in business with a bike store for 7 years.
And what was the square footage of your store?
2,200.
All right. And another part of that is you got to start hiring people.
You have to hire people.
Then you have to be a manager.
Then you have to train people.
And you were never good.
You have to manage people. Right. You weren't good at those things. You were good at other things.
You're like, I can fix bikes.
Yeah.
I can't fix people.
Right. And then suddenly you got to deal with people. You have to deal with reviews. You have to deal with other businesses. You have to deal with suppliers,
inventory,
banks, accountants.
All of the things.
All bunch of awful things that are not fun. They're not fun to learn to have to deal with if you're not already experienced in those things. And you haven't felt the value of those things in your work history prior. You've just been you felt the value of the bike side. You haven't felt the value of all of the bullshit side.
Yeah.
It's kind of hidden. You don't really realize it.
And you got to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my thinking was I wanted to make a bike shop that was all about bike mechanics and not so much about sales. You can see where this is going. You have to sell stuff.
You have to sell.
You have to sell, especially if you're in a place like we were where rent was so high and you're in a neighborhood and adjacent to a busy business district, and you have to sell stuff. And I thought service more exclusively in that environment was the way to go. And it kind of was here and there, but like it really needed to sell. Like we needed to make a certain amount of more money, especially with the way our rent was going, to survive and to keep going. And the only way that money wasn't going to be made up by bringing in more labor, because we were pretty maxed out on our schedule as it was. You had to sell more shit.
You gotta sell more shit.
And
you can't start putting more bays in, do more tune-ups.
I don't like doing that. I fucking hated that. I hated worrying about selling shit, and that's partly why I closed the thing down.
Yeah, and then you start selling like, oh, well, what can I sell that's easy? Like,
yeah,
you don't want to sell more complicated stuff,
right?
Like that's the tough, another tough part. You start getting into the deep pit of like clothing, and a lot of shops will start doing a lot more clothing, because guess what? Like, dude, a $200, a $400, a $500 jacket doesn't come back for a tune-up.
Right.
You know, it's like you sell it and you don't see it again.
Off it goes. Yeah.
Boom, out the door.
Well, where else does a bike shop come from?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, it comes from people who've been in the industry for a minute, but it also comes from people who have been outside the industry for a bit, or entirely. I know of several instances where bike shops have been started. Rim brakes only.
Nice. Yeah.
That's all we do.
Rim brakes only.
That needs to be the name of the store, of the shop. Rim brakes only.
Rim brakes. We don't do disc brakes. Nope.
No, I have seen shops that have been run by people who came from a very corporate background. They worked on the corporate side of things in whatever for a long time, maybe made some decent money.
Yeah,
Put some money away. They've already basically have their retirement done for.
Yeah, and they're 50 grand.
Yeah, they're in their early mid 50s, and they're like looking to do something else before they actually retire. And so some of these people there's a mindset for, this is like, it's the same mindset for like the dudes and the people who've been in the shop for a while, like, I can do this. These guys have been like in a corporate world for a minute, like, I can run my own business. And so what do?
Yeah.
More often than not, what they do is they go buy a business.
Yeah.
So this is not a bike shop that springs up out of nowhere. More often than not, these people are going to seek out and buy a business that's up for sale. Usually that business is up for sale by somebody who's run it for a little while and is ready to be done with it.
And they're like,
because they haven't been able to figure it out and make it happen. So
here we go, baby.
So that's kind of where bike shops kind of come from generally. They're started by people who are in the industry, who love it, and they've chosen it as their career and their lifestyle, and they think they can do it. And then there's the other side, which is bike shops that have existed for a while that sort of have enough value to stick around, but they're not valuable.
Yeah, they've made enough of a name.
And so the next kind of person over starts to think they're the one who can make that one work. So like somebody else is like, you know what? I'm out. I've tried for 6, 8, 10, 12 years. I'm ready to be done. This person's ready to like move on, right? And then you have the other person who's like, oh, well, I've got money. I've kind of got myself figured out. I'm the one who can make this work. I can, and these people usually come at the operation of the bike shop from a very financial kind of point of view, whereas a shop, an industry veteran usually comes at it from a more or less like cultural and community and kind of subjective point of view, like the feel of the shop, what you have, and then the people who buy shops usually come at it from like in a matter of like accounting and data and statistics and like in that, and so they usually try to run shops that way, and then the other guys are trying to be like, we're gonna try to be as cool as we can so people really like us, and then this set of people is like, we're gonna be as rigid as we can to the rules of economics as we can, and guess what? Which one works, Nick? Which one works?
Neither.
Neither one works.
You gotta balance. It's
Neither
the yin
one
and yang.
works.
The yin and yang. I actually worked at a shop that I think was, it was very briefly. I worked there for like an end of a summer. That I think they were trying to just burn as much cash as possible.
This is not the pros closet?
No. It was
You didn't work there?
3 software guys who all went in on a bike shop, and like they had like a really cool they were like wanted to do a community bike shop, and they actually hired a company to do like a logo and branding and go all in, but like they were paying everybody. They were actually paying people, and the shop wasn't making any money.
Right.
And we were like, another friend of mine worked there. That's how I got in. And we were like, is this like a tax write-off? Like, are we a tax write-off right now?
I mean, I would take it.
Because like other employees were working like 7 hours and then putting down like 9 and 10 and like getting a bunch of overtime and like,
amazing.
We were like, you'd look at the timesheet and like, because the timesheet was a Google Doc.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Of course it was, yeah.
So everyone
It's
can
like,
see.
we're going to run off the honor system here.
Yeah.
Because everybody's reliable.
That was a weird place because like there was one of the partners that was into it who actually would come by and like check on stuff and chat about stuff. And I was like, it's kind of like trying to clean some stuff up. I was like, man, we could be a lot better. We can clean some stuff up and actually like have a good service menu and do all this. And that lasted for about 2 months. and then they closed. And now it's Blue Pan Pizza.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is way better.
So in this instance, a pizza joint is better than a bike shop.
Dude, Blue Pan Pizza is amazing. If you're in Denver, Blue Pan Pizza. It's deep dish, Chicago or Detroit style.
I don't know what that means. I don't eat pizza. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe they got something with goat cheese, dude.
I'm not allowed to eat it. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
One day.
So we're somewhat on the continuation of a theme that we discussed a few weeks ago, which was what should bike shops be doing?
What should they be doing?
Because part of that question sort of begs the question, should they even be around at all?
You could buy it on Amazon, dude.
You can buy it on Amazon. And so...
Overrated.
Overrated. Blue Pan Pizza. Curtis is he's talking about your pizza joint.
What?
Yeah.
No, it's delicious. I go there and I eat it and I enjoy it.
Yeah, but he probably paid more than he wanted to for it because he's like borderline a boomer. So he still thinks things should be way cheaper than they are.
Do you go into the Golden Corral?
Yeah. He's like, I want my pizza to be $14 for a whole, like 18-inch.
We're past those days. So
Yeah,
pizza's $20.
And so then,
hey,
at
you don't
least.
even have 2 kids, dude. Blue Man Pizza is a saint. It's not overrated. It's delicious. I'll go there and I'll eat it.
So we were talking a little bit about what bike shops should be doing, and we were talking about like what should they be doing sort of on the education end of like when you sell product, to what degree should a bike shop really educate someone on how to use it? And we talked about how like we go to Best Buy or wherever else and you buy something and nobody teaches you jack shit about anything. You go up front, they scan it, you swipe your card and you walk out and you figure it out, right? If you really are stuck, you can call their geek squad. Maybe bike shops should have geek squads.
Dude, I will be on the other end. You call me, give me a little bit of money, and I'll answer questions, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, yeah, the customer service experience at most places is pretty...
Well, it's dog shit.
Yeah, it's like, we sold you the stuff.
What more do you want?
So,
That's
I
how
don't know.
we stay in business.
Yeah.
We sell you the thing.
We sell you the thing.
And then we use that money to pay people to put more of those things out for other people to buy. That's it.
That is.
That's the end of this transaction. Bike shops don't get to live in that
Dude,
sort of scenario. They don't get to like just have stuff, just sell it, turn it over, and then be done.
Have you been to a Walmart lately and you ask an employee?
I have never asked an employee at a Walmart.
I've unfortunately.
Why? What are you doing?
Because I'm like, I don't know where, it's so big. I don't know where something is.
Go for a walk. Enjoy it.
And I walk around and then I'm like, hey, where's the salmon? You know?
What are you talking about?
And they go, hold on. And they go to their phone and they start looking it up. And they're like, I think it's like aisle 10. And then they walk away. Like,
I worked back in the end of 2019, like for a few weeks after I closed my store. I worked at Home Depot.
Home Depot?
For like 6 weeks. And that is exactly what happened. And they told us when I worked there that just use the consumer app for Home Depot and pull it up and tell people where stuff is based on that. The thing that people could have themselves.
Yeah.
We just did it for them. That was how it worked. Anyway.
Yeah.
Interesting that's all you're getting at Home Depot. That's all you're getting at Walmart. You're getting that at all these places, and then you're buying the stuff, and then you're on your own to use it. Bike shops seem to live in this entirely different realm where you have to sell a thing, and in the selling of it, you have to explain the differences between like 8 to 10 different versions of it in the first place. Like this one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And you gotta help them like fucking funnel down to this one thing, right? Sell them the thing. Then you sell them the thing, and then you have to teach them how the gears work, how the shift, how this works, how all the dials and the switches, and how to put on pedals, remove pedals, how to deal with sealant, with two. There's so many things, right? And apparently bike shops are supposed to just teach you all of this stuff in the during the transaction.
Half hour of like.
Yeah, because people want to nobody wants to be in the shop for 2 hours while you.
Some people do.
Yeah, well,
some people do.
Some people do. Some
people
do want to suck your time, but
they want it to be a Starbucks, dude.
Yeah.
Problem is, you're not selling $8 lattes.
No. Oh, I'm gonna cough.
Oh no!
It got me.
I mean, some shops go the extra mile and are passion driven and community driven, and want to get people into the bike and teach them and do all this stuff. And then there's some shops that don't do that.
No. And we kind of didn't really have a conclusion necessarily, like which one actually is which is better, which is the one that's worth having around, the one that. I mean, obviously, any consumer is going to say the one that basically gives you a bunch of stuff for free. And stuff in this case can be knowledge and information. But on the bike shop end, there's also going to be, again, the guys who run the shop from the financial point of view are going to be like, limit the amount of time you spend with the customer. Then you're going to make more money per thing,
Yeah, close the deal.
And then send them out. Because if you start teaching them all this stuff, then you're spending a lot of time, and then you're basically reducing the amount of profit you're making per sale. Okay, that's real.
Yeah.
And then the mechanic or the industry guy who starts it or takes over or starts the shop or whatever, he's like, oh, we're going to teach everybody everything. We're going to have classes. We're going to have events. We're going to do this. We're going to, have things where we, do suspension and all this stuff for people. And we're going to teach them all this stuff. And they're going to try to build this following in a sense based on how much extra stuff they do for people that people aren't paying for.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, both of these kinds of bike shops close down.
Sometimes they get bit. I mean, well,
I'm not saying every time.
The only way
both kinds of them shut down, I would say, at probably similar rates.
Yeah, I mean, Performance was a huge national chain. That was their target audience was just above Walmart. Like you got Walmart and you got Performance.
Right.
And I mean, they closed down.
Right.
I mean, they had stores nationwide. They also paid their employees like crap. And it was just another big box store. Just had bicycles.
Curtis claims that customers are the worst.
Yeah. No
Customers will claim that bike shop employees are the worst. And this is the world we live in. So, brings us to...
Well, yeah, go ahead. Keep moving. Keep moving.
Yeah, because we started late and it's 8:52. So I recently, just this week, I was chatting with a person he's a sales rep for multiple bike brands, and one of his brands is a helmet company, and we were just chatting, and he was telling me that the upper ups from the helmet company are on his ass to get more dollars out of the territory.
Get after it.
So, this is the other thing that if you're a consumer to keep in mind. There's not only is the bike shop like struggling to try to figure out how to sell their own stuff, they're also trying to figure out how to make their suppliers happy so that they keep like relationships and keep product and stuff like that. But he was just like, and this guy's been a sales rep for a long time, very long time. He's good. He knows this product. He knows what he's doing. He knows the industry. So he's just like, you can't make dollars out of nothing in November in the Front Range.
Season's over.
This is impossible. And we just got hit with, a foot to 18 to 20 inches of snow.
People are running.
People are
Running
trying to run.
ride.
They're cross-country skiing. They're, the bike riders.
Dude, fat biking, dude. People are hitting the fat bike trails.
Yeah, whatever. But there's a couple of things that come up against that. One is this is not the time of year to get extra dollars out of a territory. That's insane. But the other thing is bike shops are still full on their inventory.
Yeah.
All right. Generally speaking, right now nobody needs anything. All right. Plus, the rules for how bike shops keep their stuff in stock have changed in the last 10 years. All right. You used to have your like one supplier of helmets or this or that, and you would stock usually largely from them, and you would try to do periodic, like a few big orders and then a few smaller orders, and you really didn't order like 1-2 of helmets and stuff like that. But that's changed because other suppliers now provide multiple brands of like helmets, for instance, in this case, to provide to you. And so if you want to just stock those, you can fill in your orders however you want without having to commit to, like say you need 3, 4, 5 helmets. Well, sure, you can do that instead of having to do like $500 in helmet order, to get a free shipping or whatever, stuff like that. So the rules of how bike shops stock their inventory has changed because they have more choices available to them, which is not used to be the case. The other thing that bike shops have to deal with is consumers now have way more choices available to them. And that's sort of the deal that bike shops are contending with nowadays, is bike shops are dealing with the fact that consumers have a huge world of product available to them. And bike shops are dealing with the question of what do they carry? So sort of beyond what do they do, which was our previous conversation, which there was still more to that, but now it's sort of a question, okay, well, let's back away from what they should be doing and just talk about what they should have. What should they sell? Nick?
Dude,
I think you have the answer. I would love to hear it.
It's just the bare minimum. I think
the
most
bare
shops
minimum.
Just the bare minimum, because like helmets are a great example. Shoes are another great example where you have to carry a lot of sizes, a lot of styles. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have an entry-level mountain shoe. You're gonna have an entry-level road shoe. You're gonna have medium. Maybe then you're like, oh, I got to carry 8 different shoes, men's and women's, and holy crap, now I'm carrying a ton of shoes.
Well, and then shoes have color options often. And then there's just multiple brands. And some people believe that certain brands fit them and other brands don't. And, oh, my one friend had this brand and he liked it. Why don't you have that brand?
Speed plays, dude. You got to run speed play pedals.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's a lot of shops don't even carry shoes. And you either go all in and you do it well,
Yeah.
or you're like, I'm not doing shoes. A lot of places barely want to do helmets because then you have to carry, a road helmet, a mountain helmet, a commuter helmet, BMX helmet, full face, like where it is, and then multiple colors and sizes and.
Oh, that was not the one I wanted.
I think it was.
Probably that one.
And then the shop gets really crowded with all this stuff, and it's like, why can't we just carry like 2 helmets, like a good road helmet and a mountain helmet, and that's gonna work for most people. You can commute in a mountain helmet, you can commute in a road helmet.
So shops have a few options, I guess, when it comes to like what should they have. One of the options is Gravel shoes. Yeah, it's true. It's a whole other category.
Big and tall.
Curtis brings out gravel shoes, which is actually a fair point because it represents a whole nother category that shows up, kind of in a sense out of nowhere. We're like, oh, cool. Well, now you have not only these bikes.
Would it be
you
offensive
have
if I just said
tires for
wear
Yes.
mountain shoes? Is that offensive?
It's not offensive, but you're gonna sound silly. I mean, come on.
You just use SPDs, mountain shoe? Like, dude, I ride road in SPDs. I don't care. Like, and honestly, most of the time I wear flat pedals now, because I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Like you can do anything on flat pedals.
You can do anything on flat pedals. My life has gotten very complicated. I have 2 kids, and I want to get on my bike and ride.
You should have a third. It makes it easier.
I'm not gonna follow you on that one. I thought you had 4.
Feels like it sometimes.
Dude, I want to get on the bike and ride. I don't want to have a road shoe and road bike. And so if I do clip in, I'm just going SPDs, and I'm going to get a mountain shoe, and that's it. And usually a flat, like, BMX style shoe.
Sounds like you're not committed to the bike lifestyle, bro.
Bro, dude, if your helmet doesn't match your shoes, you're a piece of shit.
Correct.
Correct.
Where were we at? Okay.
Where are we at?
Yeah,
shoes.
Well,
shoes.
we're at the ways that a bike. So you have a bike shop.
So there's certain categories.
Regardless of who they started it.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out what to carry. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the options, and this is a real one, is carry a lot of everything.
Preach. Carry a lot, dude.
Okay.
Pack the
Yes.
store.
That is an option.
Inventory.
Carry a lot of everything.
Shelves to the ceiling, all the way to the ceiling, and you go.
Max out all of your credit lines. Max out your loan. Don't fucking pay yourself. Have it all. Have as much of it as you can, so that whenever somebody comes in, they go, "Whoa, I just need like a shoe," and then they don't buy, and then they walk out and they're like, "They expected me to know everything about bikes, and I don't know everything about bikes because they had all this stuff, and I don't know what all this stuff is,
dude." I walked into a local shop here in town that was so packed with stuff. You could barely walk. It was like a little tunnel that was like 2 feet to get around the store. I mean, it was claustrophobic. Like, I felt uncomfortable. And they had like scooters in there. It was like bikes, e-bikes,
a lot of
road
everything,
bikes,
a lot of everything." Because if you have
helmets,
if you have a lot of everything, you're gonna have what somebody needs or
Just
wants.
so much.
You're gonna have it.
I was buying.
But you're not going to sell all of it.
Derailleur cable, and I said I need like 4 feet of cable, and the guy goes, "It's pretty expensive. Are you sure you want 4 feet?" And I was
How
like,
expensive was it?
$5 a foot.
This is too much.
This is expensive for
Yeah.
So like being on that side, I was like, but dude, I was really put off. The whole like just walking in and then getting hit with that customer service. Like, you probably can't afford this. It's like
I can't, so I
this
don't know why
price
you
is
would.
this price is really going to piss you off. So,
So buckle up.
yeah, it wasn't even you can't afford this. It was like, oh, we're charging you. You're not going to like it.
We don't make money on much else, but we're going to fucking make money on these cables.
I was like, dude, I needed just a couple feet. And I was like, okay.
man.
So I was like, okay, I'll only get 2 feet of cable housing then, and I'll make it work. You know? I'm not spending $20 on cable housing today.
So the problem
Not
with
doing it.
So the problem with a shop that has to do a lot of everything is they have to be a lot of everything.
Everything.
They have to have the stuff. They've got to have the square footage. They have to have the staff. There's a lot that goes into having a lot of everything. And so very few can do that.
And a lot of your volume is the $400 bike.
Yeah.
Your volume. And so then you got mechanics that are just cranking out cheap bikes.
Yep.
They're like, damn it, I have to build another Trek Navigator 300.
So what about just carrying a little bit of everything, Nick? Just a little bit of everything.
Like a select.
We'll do everything, but we'll just do a little bit of it.
Like, I'm only going to carry the things I try and I love.
We're not there yet. We're at a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything?
Yeah. This is the guy who wants to be a lot of everything, but he can't afford it.
A little bit of everything.
So he
Tell
has
me
a
more.
little bit of everything. So he's going to have all the stuff, but he's not going to have the full size runs in those things. He's not going to have the color options in those things. So he's going to have a lot of each thing. And then you're going to be like, oh, cool, I like that. I like that bike. I like, I need this size and I like that color. Oh, we don't have that. We have to order that.
We have to order that.
Oh, well, I kind of wanted to buy a bike today, or helmet, or this or that. Because again, with all these things, there's so many choices. And so this bike shop owner is like, well, maybe if I can just sort of spread myself thin, like have everything, but like a smaller supply of everything, then maybe I won't have to like overextend myself financially to have all the stuff, and then I can kind of pick and choose. But you're going to lose sales because you won't have it at that time.
Or you're doing orders, and orders waste time.
Waste time and take money, because then you're going to, then how much are you dealing with shipping? And then
Somebody's got to look it up, and
Yep.
then press order, and then it's got to come in, and then somebody's got to call, and then somebody's got to ring that up.
So that doesn't seem like that works quite so well. Which brings us to what I think is a third option, which is what you were getting at too, which is, okay, you can have a lot of everything, you can have a little of everything, or you can have a curated selection
Curated.
of
Only the
specific
finest.
things, of only the finest.
The finest leather goods on this side of the Himalayas.
Which is usually, so again, this brings us kind of to the spectrum of like
I love being on the
shops
spectrum.
that are kind of, don't we all? Shops that are kind of corporate run.
Corporate.
Yay! Or with a corporate mindset or a very business mindset.
Strict.
Yeah.
Strict.
To like your friend that owns a bike shop, man.
Yeah, dude.
And you trust.
Go check out Larry.
You trust what he says, because he's never steered you wrong, bro.
Yeah, dude.
And so like you go in and like, yeah, they're kind of small. They don't have very much, but man, they got good stuff of what they have.
God, the
And
good stuff.
they stock.
The good stuff.
And this setup is the guy, and this was me.
This
This was me. This is the person who's like, you know what? I know, and this is just me sharing my mindset on this. I know that there's a huge world of shit for bikes out there.
Get in there. Oh, face massage. I haven't had a face
People
massage.
just listen to this without watching.
I
They
hope
have
to
no idea
God.
what they're getting into. Okay. So
My
there's a world of
2.5-year-old gives me good face massages.
Nice.
No, they're
With
terrible.
their knuckles?
It's just like continue.
Well, so this final person, there's a world of shit out there, and my thinking was like, as a bike shop owner of a store, I want to sell people stuff that I know, have experience with, I can vouch for, I can stand behind. I know the company. Maybe I have a sales rep who works with me on them. We can work with warranty down the future later on if necessary. And I've gone through all the other stuff. I've read the reviews. I've seen the product. I've touched it. I've fondled it.
Maybe you went out and did a bike ride with it?
I've ridden it, yeah.
You're like, wow.
I've compared weight and cost and things and gone through all these things and been like, oh, this is
Full
really the best
spectral
combination of
analysis.
this. I mean, like, this item or these few items represent what I think are very good options for anybody. Yeah, a good one, a better one, a best, you know.
Would you say most premium?
Always have the most premium.
We carry most premium curated collection.
Okay. Now, in each of these situations, you're going to have a customer. Each one of these kinds of stores, you're going to have customers walk in and have different kinds of reactions. Store number one's going to have somebody who is just like, this is too much. I don't know what all this stuff is. Overkill. And then they're going to feel like the staff expects them to know about all this stuff. Like, this is sort of where some of this mentality comes from. It's like, oh, I went in and they had all this stuff and I don't know anything about it and somebody just needed to help me with it, right? It can be overwhelming. And so you have a sense of being overwhelmed. And then you have the disappointment of not having exactly what you want, but seeing it as an availability in option 2. Like, oh, you have that. Ooh, great. Or, oh, you don't have it. That's disappointing. That's a bummer. They don't have what I want.
Premium disappointment.
And then the final one is a little different one because that customer, there you go, comes in, looks around, and is like, you guys don't have very much, do you? It's like, well, and then you have to explain the whole thing, right?
It's like going into an Apple store and going, you guys don't really have that much. Like,
they
the
don't
shops,
have that much.
They don't. They sell like 3 things.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 now. They have a watch, a tablet, a couple phones, and that's by design. You don't need a lot of things. And I've worked in shops that have tried to pare down. Be like, we sell 1 multi-tool or 2 multi-tools. They do these specific things. One's really small, one's really big.
Yeah.
One does a lot, one does a little. You know, it's like,
What do you want to do?
what do you want to do? We don't need 12 multi-tools
You don't
on the
need,
shelf.
No.
Or 12
I agree.
pumps or 4 shock pumps. You need to pick one that works really well.
But you and I agree that's where we sit with our mindset for having been in the industry for a long time. There is a ton of customers who want to see that selection when they walk in, or they think they do. Because then when they see it, then they're like, oh, well, I just need a pump. I just need a pump. They're just like, well, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? And then they get inundated with options, and then they get option paralysis, and then they bounce, and then they go online and they find one that has 4.75 stars, and they're like,
Chris Angel mind freak them. You know,
I wish.
They're like, I don't know what. Just mind freak, dude. It's kind of ridiculous though to go in and have like so many options. Like, it's like going to the grocery store and there's 12 different types of mustard. Like, I just want Grey Poupon, dude.
oh, this is brand recognition there,
You
baby.
know?
I just want mustard. Yeah.
It's French, right?
Yeah. You have to ask for it from a guy in a limo, though.
Guys, I don't eat Grey Poupon, okay?
All right, fine.
But you can wrap and rhyme a lot of things with Grey Poupon, like futon, crouton. So
let's pose the question then.
pose the question.
I don't really know how to pose it, so I'm gonna fumble.
Oh,
I'm gonna fumble. You can go for it.
The other thing, the thing with, okay, so you like curate this shop of things, and you're like, okay, I have these 2 helmets, and I'll do a couple colors, but these are the 2 awesome helmets. We got a road helmet, mountain helmet. We got 2 multi-tools. We have one floor pump we really love. It does everything you need it to do.
Puts that air in those tires.
It slices,
Yes.
it dices, it changes your motor oil.
Rams the air in there.
Bam.
Okay.
You know, you go through and you're like, I've found the thing, the products that the people want, and and then people come in and they're like, oh, you guys don't have a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering, I saw this thing on a forum about this random cheap ass part that I heard was really good. It holds your cell phone on your stem cap or something. And you're like, oh, we don't do that, like, because that's stupid. You put your cell phone in your pocket, don't look at directions.
And then they walk away and be like, these guys don't. And then they go to Google and they say, this shop never has anything.
So, you know, it feels when you work in a bike shop like there's this double edge where you see people like post things like, support your local bike shop. Support your local bike shop.
Yeah.
Go in and buy stuff.
I really want to support you guys. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, and then
Give me a deal.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, you guys don't really carry the weird thing I want, and it's like, no, we don't.
Right.
We don't. We carry this
because there's too much.
Yeah, there's so many options. You kind of have to pick what you're going with, and then go with it, because otherwise.
This is kind of
where.
What
are you doing?
Well, this is kind of where my thinking is anymore. Is there didn't 10, 15 some years ago, there weren't so many choices of just bike stuff, right? There's so many brands, not only available to bike shops, but just available to customers through the internet, right? So it used to be that, like, if you wanted something like this, you kind of needed to go to the bike shop, or at least you needed to go to the bike shop to see what was out there. And the bike shops have been dealing with mail order and the internet for a long time on the subject of price, but they were in many cases dealing with the same product. In the last 10 years or so, the product availability has expanded exponentially, right? To where bike shops can't be the have a lot of everything. You would need to be a fucking superstore to have a lot of everything. You would need to be huge.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of the levels. You're either squeezed to the point where you're in this middle point as a shop.
Yeah.
If you're kind of a small shop, you don't want to grow. You just want to kind of have your stake in the ground.
Not a good capitalist then.
Yeah. Or you need to grow and you need to have 3 stores and you need to have somebody who runs HR. And then you're the corporate store. And then you need to go in and say, okay, guys, we don't need to spend so much time with the customers. We don't need to spend so much time with the customers. We need to tighten it up and greet the next person. Welcome to Costco. I love you.
But I'm not shooting you with lasers.
Yeah, and we're going to pay you $12 an hour.
Right.
And so it's like, I think the point of this is like there's this middle ground where you get squeezed, where the shops that do grow to 3, 4 stores have buying power, they get better deals, and they kind of control the market a little bit more. And then you got the little stores that are like trying to be a little bit more curated, maybe more bespoke.
Ooh, bespoke.
I hate that word. I hate that word.
But I think I don't think the bespoke stores are working, and I don't think that we've actually seen a good example of the superstore yet.
Let's ask Chris Cole.
Is Wheat Ridge Cyclery the superstore? I think they might be as close as it gets, but I haven't been in there to see.
But there's only one location.
There's only one location. Right, but let's narrow it down to one location, to be one place, and be like, okay, if you're gonna be the shop that does a lot of everything, that's where that's Costco warehouse size. Like, it's huge to actually do that. Have a lot of everything.
Dick's Sporting Goods, dude.
But they don't have a lot of everything because they don't have anything in the high end.
No.
Well, on the bike end of things, I don't know how they compare to anything else they sell, like sports-wise. 50 years in business doesn't mean anything. Obviously, it does.
I laugh at both of those responses.
Yeah.
That was a double laugh.
Right.
I think this is the combo that I like for the bells. Like,
Yeah, that's good.
That's
50
a
years in
good-
business. 50 years in biz.
the buzz.
No, I'm not here just
But then
like,
there's
talk Wheat Ridge.
what was it? Village Cyclery or whatever.
Bicycle Village.
Bicycle Village. But now it's like Epic Mountain. Did that merger happen, or did I misunderstand? Okay,
Yeah.
so now it's a big megalomakba, but you don't get anything in there. And then you go to a store like REI, and they have a variety of stuff, but I don't know. I think that's all. How much is that dictated by a manager that's like on the floor and like seeing what people want? And then also, I've worked at stores where the manager gets will get asked about a product a couple times, and it's like, we need to stock scooters, dude. 3 people came in and asked us about scooters, and then you get 50 scooters,
And then nobody wants
and then
them.
nobody,
Yeah.
and then they're on sale,
And
and
then
you're
it's
like,
right.
oh my god. Which is just to say how hard, I mean, just running a store and inventory and all this is.
Yeah, super hard. So I think I'm tipping my hand a little bit in that I have this perception that I think the small guy is going away. I think that's proven. I think there will constantly be a little bit of a churn of the small guy. The guy who gets a loan and,
Well, I
and
think
tries
it's the
to
medium.
start his own.
I would say it's the medium. I think you're the small guy.
I'm as small as it gets here. Oh, buddy.
Little fella.
You're just a little guy.
Hey, look at the little fella.
I guess it depends on what we define as small or big. Kind of my point was I don't think we've actually seen the big.
I think
yet.
you're small shop, big profit.
I think
I've seen the numbers, dude.
it's true. I've figured something out. That's for sure. I figured out how to pay my bills for once.
Yeah.
And it's
2-car garage, dude. We'll do it.
It's not selling bikes, that's for sure.
No.
Well, but that actually brings me to my point, which is I actually have a bit of a perspective that I think that shifting our bike world to the spectrums might actually be better off. Maybe more big stores with a corporate feel, but they have the stuff. You can go in and you can buy it.
Well,
right?
it's online essentially.
Well, yeah, and it's like almost adjacent, right? It's like adjacent to online.
Middle class is gone, dude.
Yeah,
You're eroding the middle class.
mixed middle is going away with all that running.
Premium.
Yeah, this is premium Nick showing
I've been
up now.
waiting to flex all year.
But I guess my idea is if maybe it gets pushed to the spectrum a little, maybe having a place where you can just go buy stuff and move on and not have to get educated about it is fine. And then maybe you do have maybe a bunch of guys like me who are running out of their garage or a warehouse space or whatever, and their costs are kept pretty low, and they're basically maxed out as 1 or 2 people with their customer base, and they take care of them. And then they take care of all the other questions and the culture and the community stuff that maybe the big stores aren't doing so much.
They don't want. I don't think most of them want to do that stuff.
The big stores?
Yeah. It's liability.
It's true.
Group rides.
Yeah, yeah.
Big liability.
True.
It's a big liability. You do a group ride, somebody falls. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's on you, baby.
Yeah.
Can be.
And I don't think any big store does or cares about any of that.
I really want. You know what I want to see really bad? I do want to see like a full bike superstore, not Wheat Ridge. Wheat Ridge is a big bike shop.
I love how you just keep burning Curtis.
No, I'm just
50
sharing,
years in biz.
I think it's a reference point for us in the Front Range for sure, and I think even bike people nationwide kind of have heard of it. Right?
Like a megala store.
Yeah, like almost like many, many, many brands. All the stuff, everything.
Absolutely everything.
Pert near. I want to see
Jesus.
that. I want to see it backed by a fucking billionaire who doesn't have to. And you can go and be like, oh yeah, you have a size run of every color of every model from a bike company.
You heard it here.
This needs to fucking happen.
Jason wants a billionaire to back him.
Not me.
I've
I don't want to run this thing. I don't want to. No, I want to see it.
El Presidente.
I want it to exist.
Very. I have seen this happen once before.
A billionaire run a bike shop?
No, start a skate park. Like, no joke. I've seen it. Somebody was like, hey,
Okay.
do you want to start the skate park? I'll fund it. And we were like, my friend was like, what? Mm-hmm. And then he shot me a message and I was like, what? And he was like, no, so-and-so's dad's a billionaire and he wants to start a skate park in Denver. And it was like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It lasted for 3 years. Now it's gone.
Because the billionaire didn't.
Oh, it was a total weird
Yeah.
shit show.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking a situation that probably.
But there's billionaires out there, and they need to lose money sometimes, and
They
maybe
do.
you can be the guy.
They do.
Like $1 million is like, that's a good write-off, dude. But a $1 billion write-off is better.
Correct.
That's what I'm looking to do.
Oh,
Get a real
we
job.
told to get a real job. I would. No. Just no thanks. I kind of tried. It was shitty.
Yeah.
I think I have maybe a not real job now, and I'm pretty happy with it, and I pay my bills, so
I get creative.
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I drove dump truck for a while. That was pretty cool.
I sold breathalyzers for drunk people.
Okay.
Which you talk about. I mean, that's
What kind of whiskey is that?
Russell's Reserve.
Russell's.
10-year, baby.
Dude, it's got spicy vanilla.
It does. It's got a good spicy vanilla note to it.
It's a bourbon that delivers rich notes of spicy vanilla. I think that's in focus there.
Yeah.
Get a job. That's such a good one.
I mean, he's not entirely wrong.
Oh no. Like after working in the industry for a
Yeah.
while, sometimes you got to go get a real job. You're like, oh, this is what benefits are like. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I weirdly found out how to make my little niche, whatever the word is, work.
Niche.
Nyash. I'm good. More money than I've ever made working in bike shops, and control over my life, my schedule, my existence, and my work. So I'm good.
Yeah, you can
But
run.
that is part of my point. Is I think there is opportunity for a lot more very small people like me.
The small people.
The smallest. There's more opportunity for the smallest,
The little
and I
people.
think maybe some opportunity for the biggest. And the middle, sorry guys, I don't know what to tell you. You just do the same thing. You're just going to keep churning.
Well, earlier in the show, you mentioned the most economical of economics, and it's all about finding needs and working with people, and nothing is real. Correct. We are in the multiverse. But you got to find a niche. You got to find customers, and there's always a need. Like people want good mechanics, and once you start to get a good base and you work with people and you build it up, dude, you will rocket
Well,
to the top.
I will always come back to
But there's always
the
people.
fact that Home Depot should run bike repair
But
for people who don't want to pay a lot. That's
man, I had a thought. Now it's gone.
Oh,
now
sorry.
your turn.
Fuck. No, I said Home Depot, and that was my one thought. We're about done.
Yeah, we are about done.
Are bike shops worth it?
Our bike shop's worth
That's the question.
Well, they're changing.
And we're making people stay on for the final answer.
Changing.
The answer
market's
is,
changing.
well, it depends.
Well,
Adapt or die, baby.
adapt. Innovate or die.
Adapt or, that was, who was
Specialized.
that? Specialized?
Yeah.
Hydrate or die was Camelback. Which they were most correct.
Yeah, that's pretty correct.
They were the most right.
You gotta drink the water, as they say.
Yeah.
And some drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
I mean, if that's how you find reality, I guess so.
If you work at we didn't even touch on brand stores. Trek, Giant, Specialized, brand stores. But that's big store. And
Yeah, what is a brand store? Is it it's not a lot of everything. It's not a little of everything. It's a lot of a little.
it's a little of a lot of a little.
Yeah. A brand store is a lot of a little. It's everything of a slice.
It's what Trek, Specialized, or Giant. Those are the three brand stores that are most common. Trek, I think, has done probably the best from what I've seen in the markets I've seen, but you know, different places could do better with Specialized. Specialized has tried it. Giant has tried it.
Yep.
But yeah, they're brand stores, just like a Toyota dealership. There's going to be a Trek dealership. There's several Trek stores around here in the Denver area. So, yeah, it is what it is. And
maybe the bike industry moves to the car industry where you just have like an avenue of a street in town, and then you have like Giant, Trek, Specialized. All the dealers are just like in line as you go down the street there, and you just kind of can pick whatever one you want to go to.
Ooh, every time I go to my local bike shop, they treat me like crap. Elaborate.
I love it. Well, I love it.
Elaborate.
This is a whole episode we have been
We're waiting.
preparing for a year, but we haven't quite formulated it yet.
It's going to be the season finale, maybe the year end.
I would love to know details on how people are treated like crap in shops.
Yeah, and dude, sometimes like I've walked in shops
That
and been.
sucks. It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen.
But I want to know like what.
Or there should
what
be
that
a
is, what that
disclaimer.
is, yeah.
Is like, just like good communication is like, hey, I'm super slammed. If I come off grumpy, I'm just really busy right now. I'll be with you in a moment.
Right.
You know, like let people know what's going on. Like a lot of times you're in a shop and you're doing three things. You're like, you know, especially if you're a solo, or maybe there's like two people working in a shop, a smaller situation. You're like, two people are doing everything. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And you know, you just need a moment. Just give me a moment. Look around the store. I think that solves a lot.
Yeah, Arcane's comment here is very good. It's not uncommon. It's a real feeling that people experience all the time. It's an interesting one that I kind of want to explore at a certain point here. I hate feeling teasy with it. I hate being a tease.
You're just such a tease.
But it's an interesting question because we've both been in shops for a long time, and I've never wanted to treat someone that way. But the fact is, I guarantee you there are people who have felt like I have treated them that way. And I mean, I don't know them. I don't know the situations, but like it's happened and they've moved on because they haven't talked to me about it. So I've been like, hey, you treated me like this. And be like, I'm sorry. On the flip side of that, there are true instances where people will treat people poorly.
Yeah.
In bike shops. And we should live talk that show. Yeah, that show's a big one. We need to have like our shit together for that one. Nick and I have discussed it.
We gotta have it like tight.
Because I have feelings about it.
Feelings.
I have feelings.
But yeah, it's like you never know if somebody's just having a bad day,
Right.
or like if a stranger walks in to a shop,
Yeah.
to another stranger, like they've never met, like you don't know what's going on. You kind of have to feel out the situation. It might be a little awkward. One person might be really busy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and so I think
the guy
sometimes
who's been married for 21 years.
20 years, yeah. That's a whole nother show, dude. But yeah, like I think sometimes I think what we're getting at is sometimes bike shop employees can be focused on what they're doing and harshly judged because they're just doing their thing and they're like.
But again, if we go back to I like his previous comment where he says, "I'm willing to support my local bike shop." Okay,
Yeah.
Great. That's great. That's good for you as a person because that is good because it helps keep your local economy healthy. That's one very good reason. But per our kind of whole conversation, this one and in the previous episode, what is a bike shop both doing and what do they have that really, it's the combination of those two things that sort of comes up to the are they worth your money? Are they worth your time? Are they worth you walking in and maybe feeling a little awkward in the situation because of what they offer both in product and in all the other stuff? So,
yeah, I mean, I think.
and if they're not, then they're not.
Yeah, and you might have to go to a couple store, like if you have.
Right, but that sucks, right?
Several stores in your town.
It
You
sucks
gotta
to go to
the
several
one.
stores and try to figure it out.
I mean, I've definitely gone into shops and had negative experiences. Multiple shops in Denver and had negative experiences.
Yeah.
Just with dude, hey, how's it going? What's up?
Right.
You don't have to try to sell me something right out of the gate either, and you don't have to ignore me.
Yeah.
But just hey, I see ya.
No, it's a lot. The whole that conversation is a big one.
And dude, the biggest thing I think with customer service is you're not trying to sell something. You're ask a random question. Just be have you been on a good ride this week? Or
yeah.
Engage in some way that's not about the sale. I think is a huge thing. That's what I've tried to do. Sometimes you do get busy and everything, but oh, that's a cool shirt. Oh, you like that band? I think that there's some soft skills that sometimes fly over the head of bike people, and then I also think that there's some people come in already nervous and a little socially awkward, maybe.
No, I mean everybody brings their own perceptions into a scenario. But kind of to the point, it's okay, you want to support them, but they're not worth. I think sort of the overall idea of what my brain goes to is they're not worth your support and their continued existence simply because of their current existence.
We are a bike shop, so you must support us.
Right. What do you do to basically make your existence worthwhile, valuable? What do you do? That's the question. I don't have the answers. I kind of implied that I did. I fucking don't.
Dude, it takes a lot.
But,
I mean, and I think that when we started the show, where do bike shops come from?
Yeah.
And they come from people who've been in the industry who generally are I want to start a shop and do it my way.
Yeah.
I want to do it my way. And then they get into the grind and get sucked in and ground up.
Well, and the reality is their way isn't broad enough to support their existence.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, most of the time.
You gotta sell your soul somehow. I've told people for years. I'm waiting for the opportunity to sell out. I just haven't had it. It doesn't exist for me.
Call Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah.
They're I'm ready. Doritos.
Right.
Sign me up. Give me some of that MSG. But yeah, bike shops come along by people who want to like do like a cool shop and have a cool culture, and then they get caught up in the grind of like, we gotta sell shit to make money, and then they get burnt out because they work every single weekend in the summer when everyone else is going out and having fun and riding, and then they have all the weekends off in the winter to think about how they totally screwed up their season.
Yeah.
And so it's like it can be a rough cycle. And there's always, whenever you're in a business and you work for yourself, you're like, maybe if I do this thing, I'll be, a little bit more successful. Maybe if I do this thing, maybe if I do this thing. Like, you have all these paths and you have to choose one to move forward.
Too many paths.
Too many paths.
Too many paths.
The glass is empty. I'm not sure what that means.
I think they're talking about mine. But it's also 9:37, and we need to call it.
It is.
We've gone through that much. We don't have the solutions. Again, I'll say.
Wrong buzzer.
I personally, just my personal opinion, I have no problem with like most of the industry getting kind of pushed to the ends. Super corporate, like everything, whatever, internet, whatever you want. Just go buy your shit, and then your service needs, your particular need, and maybe it's tough because my perspective leans toward like my customer base, which is people who ride multiple times a week all year long, and that's a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
And so I guess I gravitate there. But you can have the larger end, which has everything, and maybe with some of their offerings they're affordable or accessible or whatever, and then a bunch of smaller providers, some people who service higher end, some people who service commuters only. Like there's gotta.
How many clients do you have?
How many?
Yeah, like active. Let's see you at least once a year.
Oh, a few hundred.
Yeah. I mean, and we live in a city that's,
Yeah, a few million.
Yeah, a few million. I think Denver's a sprawl, so Denver proper was like a couple million.
Yeah.
And then out of that, it's like 5 million people or something crazy. Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing,
in the area.
Now, I don't necessarily need it, but with all that said, I wouldn't be opposed to like doing basic work for regular people. That sounds so dickish. Regular people. I'm really trying. I was trying not to be.
Could you please say common folk? The common folk.
People who aren't like just dedicated riders day in day out. That's what I'm talking about. And I help some here and there, but that's not who I'm like.
The common folk.
I'm burying a hole.
You're digging
a hole for myself.
No, I think
this is why everybody thought I was
a
dick when I worked in bike shops.
You're like,
you're not you're just a regular person. Who the fuck are you?
I'm happy to help the common folk. Are you a common commuter?
This is what we go through in bike shops. We're trying so hard to help people.
We're just trying to help, dude. We're practically doctors. Just trying to help.
It's true.
And going to the marketplace, dude.
Okay, well, either way, maybe we'll get superstores, maybe we'll get a bunch of small providers, or actually probably what we'll have is the continual churn of bike shops either starting anew, lasting for 3 to 10 years, or existing bike shops like We Recycler getting bought out by other people over time.
I love how you say wheat recycling. I mean, I think the thing is when you stop selling bicycles, it makes it way easier to focus on service. And that's been a big point that we've had with the show is like, maybe don't start the store where you try to have 20, 30, 40, 100 bikes on the floor, because those stores are already out there. And guess what? They have a huge bill to pay at the end of the 90 days or whatever your term is on those bikes. And you can run a small shop and do and actually have a great living just working for yourself, doing maintenance. And yeah, sell some tires, sell some helmets. Great. Throw a cleat in there.
Conclusion for the night. Are bike shops worth it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
To be continued.
I think the trend is increasingly no, which I'm not. That sucks. It's sad. But what's the sad part? The sad part is kind of what we were talking about in the other show is the culture, the community, and all the other things that they provide that they don't get paid for.
Yeah.
Which is
and like
the bummer.
Like running a team or like any of the stuff that goes along with the shop or group rides. Like people will pay for a gym membership, but they won't pay for a group ride.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If somebody has a group ride, you pay to,
no, you can pay. You
lead.
can do it. I'm sure. I think Wheat River Strangler did one with a famous cyclist not too long ago, and it was like a mixed surface ride, and you could pay to like go on it, and there was like a famous like influencer bike rider on it.
Service. Yeah, service is where it's at.
Well, yeah. I obviously, I 100% agree, and my perspective is that service is more than just what I do for your bike. It's what we kind of do together.
That was very sensual.
Oh, my goodness. No, what do you want? It's what we provide for things for each other. We service each other. Oh, boy.
Oh, well, I think that's the end of the night.
That's the end of the show. We're going to service each other.
We got a couple Fox Shocks to service. Don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird. They're just squishy bits. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Thanks for joining us on this week's discussion. Join us, I think, next Tuesday. Oh, we might have to skip a Tuesday. We're trying to do every Tuesday. It gets tough from time to time, but bear with us.
Nick's got 6 kids. So.
on a bike mechanic's salary.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not anymore. We'll see. Should I get rid of some of the kids?
I mean,
don't get rid of the kids.
You can.
But